No. I don't want to know how it happened. I don't want to know. I saw enough. Wherever it is, it's coming for me. My time left here is short. Someone has to know. They need to know. Answers cannot be found. There is no reason for why these things happened. I must let them know. It started a month ago. These strange dreams. I thought nothing of them at the time until it happened. It was a dream unlike the others. I awoke in a field. The sun was fixed behind some trees, just enough to let in to illuminate the vast land that lay before me. All was peaceful. The trees were calling to me.
Come closer. Find what there is to find.
They whispered. I refused to go. The trees continued to coax me in a welcoming and raspy voice. I turned away from the trees and ran. I tripped on a stump that it instantly grew out of the ground. I glanced at the trees as they began to bend and turn violently. The trees were failing to contain the beast. The creature had been unleashed and darkness had consumed the land. The sun dropped as fog was spilling onto the field. I, still on the ground, was crawling away. The creature took notice of me and let out a shrill shriek. As it crept closer towards me, I could make out a pale, human-like face, white as snow, and it had no expression. It had a leathery skin dangling on its back, flapping in the wind. It walked on all four, limping quickly and growing nearer. Its jaw dropped, opening the black abyss that was its mouth. Its teeth were jagged and long and were covered in a black liquid. The teeth made a loud clinking noise as its long split tongue maneuvered around them. Then, it said in a cold voice,
Leave.
I woke up. I was in my bed, drenched in a cold sweat. Something sharp was poking into my back. I leapt out of bed to see what it was. I saw a Polaroid photo. The edge must have been in my bag. It wasn't there before. I rubbed my eyes and blinked. It was still there. I picked it up, and what I saw was a picture of the creature in the field, just as it had looked as it was walking towards me in my dream. On the photo, written in what I hoped was black Sharpie, was,
I'm in your world now. You cannot harm me.
A wave of fear rushed upon me as I read those words. Then, as fast as a flash of lightning, the creature's face appeared in my window. The strange thing was, I was on the second floor of the apartment building. It was coming for me. I knew that I had to vanish, so I packed my car with all of my valuables and drove. I haven't slept since the dream. I fear if I sleep, you will claim me. I've been driving for 2 days now. I've only stopped for gas once. I have to shut off the radio. Countless news reports of missing people. It took them. Every time I pass a forest, it's there, calling me. It's always there. The last thing I remember was falling asleep to the noise of a tire screeching on the asphalt. Then all was dark. I was in my car, which was in a tree. That's about 40 feet above the ground. Since I was driving on the edge of a cliff, I must have drove off and landed in this tree, which was terrible for me because I am deathly afraid of heights. All I could do was sit in my car and not look down. I just sat there in the bitter cold. The car battery had smashed on impact and I couldn't get any heat. Every time I refreshed my thermometer app on my phone, it would tell me a temperature 5 degrees lower than the one before. This was wrong. When I had left my hotel room, it was warm enough to wear a short sleeve shirt in comfort. Right as the thermometer hit 32 degrees, I saw frost forming on what was left of my car's hood. I couldn't stand the cold. It was then 20 degrees Fahrenheit. I made my first move since my car had landed in the treetop. Quickly, I reached for my coat in the passenger seat. I had just made a terrible mistake. As my hand grabbed the coat, the broken door on the passenger side fell off. The car slid to the side, almost forcing me out. What I saw sent shivers down my spine. The car was somehow twice as high up as it was before, and there were far fewer branches keeping it up. I doubted this. I jumped back to the driver's seat due to my fright, and then I saw that the tree had grown twice its size. I knew this because when I looked out the driver's side window, I saw the road that I had been on. I looked around the whole area to find some logic behind what had happened. Then I heard something. My ears were pierced by an unearthly screech that had the ring of true horror to it. It was like the sound of an animal dying and glass breaking. I covered my ears in an effort to tune out the noise, but it did nothing. The noise was coming from the forest on the cliff. I turned my head to face it and saw something that was staring back at me. The screeching stopped. It was the creature from my dream. I was frozen in fear. This was the first time I had clearly seen it. I closed my eyes, hoping it wasn't true. I opened them again, and oh God, it was now creeping along the road. I saw decaying corpses of animals strung about its body. Deformed bones and skulls were hanging on its back. What had this thing done to those creatures? What would it do to me? I shut my eyes, and I began to cry. I pulled out my phone to capture a picture of it. People need to know this thing was real. When I opened my eyes, it had vanished. I shifted to the passenger seat. The car shifted a little as well, but not as much as I expected. Where was it? I looked around hoping to see it, but at the same time hoping it was gone. Then a knock from the roof of the car. A bough had fallen from one of the trees. It was in the treetops. I quickly snapped a picture of it. The picture, however, was badly distorted, and I dared not take another, for it grinned, showing me all of its metallic teeth. The branches of the tree were receding back into the trunk. He was controlling the trees. Then my car began to shake. I jumped back and braced myself on the driver's seat. The car slid for a bit. Then it plunged into darkness.